Okay, Israel, Most High Christ bless everybody. All right, so all praises to the Most High, giving us the spirit to come here, keep the commandments, learn what the will of the Most High is. Israel, we have less than 3 weeks. Less than 3 weeks to the Passover. It's a long path. So according to scriptures, we're gonna get started. We're gonna get started on that path and find out how Israel got into Egypt, how they got into Egypt from the beginning. Let's start in Genesis chapter 28. If you want to learn about the Passover, learn your history about the Passover, learn the whole story in detail, these classes will be a good start, a good place to start. Now, of course, we ain't gonna get it in one day. Might end up being about 6 to 7, maybe 8 parts. That way, you get the volume of it. This is gonna be part 1. Okay, so we're gonna start at Genesis chapter 28 and 10. We'll start there. So it says, and Jacob went out from Beersheba and went towards Haran, and he lighted upon a certain place and tarried there all night because the sun was set. And he took the stones of that place and put them for his pillars, and lay down in that place to sleep. And he dreamed, and behold, a ladder set up on the earth. So now this is Jacob, all right? Shalom, brothers. And the top of it reached to heaven. And behold, the angels of the Most High ascending and descending on it. So he saw this ladder that was from the earth, and it stretched clean up through the heavens. And he saw angels of the Most High. So he saw men coming up and down this ladder. Okay, that is representing the Most High sending Israel, Hebrews back onto this earth, and they were coming up and down this ladder. So we're at Genesis chapter 28 and 13. And behold, the Lord stood above it and said, I am the Most High, the power of Abraham. I am the Lord God of Abraham, thy father. So what is this showing? This is showing that the Most High is with Israel, because he is above this ladder, and the only ones that's on this ladder are the angels of the Most High. And only angels of the Most High, they only consider the saints of the Most High, which is Hebrews, which is Israelites. Okay? So it says, and the God of Jacob, the God of Isaac, it says, the land wherein thou layest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed. So this promise still has got to come. Israel is going to fulfill this, and Israel is going to come back into this same land. So verse 14, and thy seed shall be as the dust of the earth. So now, what is the Most High revealing to Jacob? He's revealing to Jacob that Israel is going to be his seed that's going to come out of his loins. It's going to be like dust, meaning everywhere. You cannot count the particles of the dust. That's how many Israelites is going to be when the Most High set up the true kingdom of the Most High. And that's what we all should be strategizing for. I know that your life is difficult and that your life is hard. And sometimes it's hard to get a grip on things, But you gotta stop living for this life and you gotta start living for the life to come. This life, this world, anybody could live in this world here. Anybody can. But the world that's gonna come, that's made for not anybody. The Bible says it's made for few. Alright? So when the difference between being the dust and being few, it's not saying it's not gonna be a lot of people. It's talking about what you see now, the few there be amongst the people that you see because of behavior and because of sin. You get what I'm saying? So, in other words, like right now, the Bible is prophesying that there's going to be an innumerable, like you cannot measure or count the amount of people that's going to have the salvation of the Most High. That's true, but yet, Christ said that few there be that find it. Why is that? Because out of all the people that live, there's a select few that's going to make it out of all people, even though despite, you understand, he's still using the word few. So don't let that get you twisted up. Because when you read Genesis, we're at 28 and 14, thy seed shall be as the dust of the earth, and thou shalt spread abroad to the west, and to the east, and to the north, and to the south. So that means you're going to just go everywhere. You're going to go everywhere. Israel is going to be in all territories. Okay, because you're going to be the governing, ruling body. Okay, you're going to have to control. You're going to have to control everything. And it says, and in thee, meaning you, Jacob, and in thy seed, okay, shall all families of the earth be blessed. Now, what does that mean? That in thee, because some people may confuse that, and think that all the other nations are going to be blessed according, in Jacob. Yeah. Well, this is what it's going to say. Let's get Isaiah chapter 14. For those of you that is joining in this class and you're not typically in the class, if you want to learn about the Passover, we have classes Tuesday, Thursday, and on Saturday, and sometimes during the Passover, which is like one of the most, drama. It's a lot of drama that happened in the Passover, Sometimes it goes 8-10 parts. It would be really good for you to learn your history. We don't just tell you to get the lamb and put it on fire and then that's it and you don't understand the details to it. We actually take our time and go through it. And I think that it's good. I think it's good that we do that because how many times you see a television show and you see a good series? And you don't want that series to complete. You be like, wow, you want that thing to have first season, second season, third season. You understand that? And so when we get into our history, what's up, brother? We get into this history, the dynamics of what transpired, we try and bring those things to light. We try and actually tell it to you with detail, with emphasis, and put spirit behind it, because right now we're just living and without any life or any direction or even without any understanding. We don't know what is transpiring. So right now, we're going to go to Isaiah chapter 14 and give you an example of how these nations are going to be blessed in you. It's not what you think it is. Those of you that have learned this, that's good. You know, those of you that are learning for the first time. Okay. Isaiah 14 and start at verses 4. Somebody can read that.
This is Isaiah chapter 14 and verse 4. That thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon, and say, how hath the oppressor ceased?
So oppression is going to cease. Okay, remember, we're going to show you how the nations are going to be blessed in you. At this point, on the other side, in the kingdom of heaven, you're going to have full rulership, and oppression is going to cease. Not just your oppression, but oppression of all the other nations. That oppression from the so-called white man, he ain't going to be able to make war with them anymore. Everybody loves to, to work, because it gives us something to do. You understand? We like to be proactive. We like to be this, that, and the third. So that's not a problem. The thing is, when you work and you're in the same place, you have an issue with that. You start off broke, you go to work, you pay him, and then you end up broke. That's oppression. So when we come in authority, all of that type of behavior is going to cease. They're going to feel it the most, though. That's why Revelation, I believe 14, says that they get paid double. Go ahead.
The golden city ceased.
Right, the golden city, that's America. It's going to stop. You understand? He didn't name every city. He's talking about America, the golden city. The one that they feel like it's the country that they feel like is a prized possession. It's going to stop. Go ahead.
The Lord hath broken the staff of the wicked, and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke. He that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted, and none hindered. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet.
Right. See that the whole earth is at rest and is quiet. Okay? So now, Proverbs chapter 28, Proverbs chapter 29, verse 2. So, yeah.
This is Proverbs chapter 29 and verse 2. When the righteous are in authority.
When the righteous is Israel. When they come into authority, authority is power, leadership over the nations. You're going to judge the earth. Did y'all know that? That y'all going to judge the earth. Israel is going to judge the whole entire world. You're going to be what they call the judicial system. Okay? All politics are going to come through you. Okay? Read it again.
This is Proverbs chapter 29 and verse 2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice.
Right. Go ahead.
But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn.
Right. So what's happening with the people now? They're mourning. So once we come in power, we're going to judge the earth. Okay? Now, from there, let's go to First Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 2.
This is 1 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 2. Do ye not know that the saints shall judge the world?
You see that? Read it again.
This is 1 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 2. Do ye not know that the saints shall judge the world?
Do you not know that the saints shall judge the world? Now go to Psalms 148 and 14. What are we establishing? Rulership, power, and authority in the earth. And that because of that, all the people, the way that we deal, that's what's going to make them happy. So we're going to crush that mental ideal, that hearsay, that, are they going to be blessed? Because the blessing ain't talking about that. The blessing is talking about we know how to deal. When somebody know how to deal with you, then you're gonna feel like this is a reasonable thing. This is reasonable. Right now, the way that we get dealt with is unreasonable. The way that they get dealt with, they feel is unreasonable. You understand that? So we have to establish this thing according to Scripture. What's up, sister? Okay, Psalms 148 and 14.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 148 and verse 14. He also exalted the horn of his people, the praise of all his saints.
The praise of all his saints. The saints shall judge the world. Read.
Even of the children of Israel, a people near unto him.
The only ones, only you have I known out of all families. See that? So it's going into Israel. Okay? So now when it said that, so now we can lose all of these things. And where was we? We was in Genesis, right? Okay, Genesis chapter 28. And 14. Read that again.
This is Genesis chapter 28 and 14. And thy seed shall be as the dust of the earth.
All right, that's what, because you're gonna multiply. Okay, you know what? Got another precept. Concerning that dust. Gonna tell us like our children and stuff like that. You know what I'm talking about? Over that 1/1,000.
No.
60. Isaiah 60. Yep. Isaiah 60. This helps support. The scriptures talk about the dust. Isaiah chapter 60. And start at 21.
This is Isaiah chapter 60 and verse 21.
Right. And so this also corrects if somebody said, well, it ain't going to be no marriages in the kingdom. They are not understanding the scriptures. When Christ was answering the Pharisees about they neither marry nor are given in marriage. You understand? The understanding to that is, we're just, instead of going into, I'm going to give you the understanding. So when you run across it, you can correct it. They were referring to a man whose woman, he died and leaving no heir, right? And so Christ is, so when you isolate that situation and you deal with that situation, that is the situation he's talking about. So he's telling them that they neither marry or are given in marriage. Because why? There is no divorce. You understand? Everybody is righteous. So if there's no divorce, this woman neither marries or is she happen to be given to somebody else, another brother, in the house to raise seed up for his brother because there is no death. So he told them, hey, you are not knowing the scriptures. Now, do we understand that? So when you run across those precepts, you know, don't be confused. Like, whoa, what is it? What is it talking about? You understand? That's exactly what he's referring to, because there are going to be marriage in the kingdom of the Most High. Or else, remember in 1 Peter 3:7, where the Most High told Israel for men to dwell with their wives according to knowledge, that their prayers be not hindered being heirs together. You understand? So you're looking to inherit together. So the woman that you with, if you have real love, you want to see your brother in the kingdom on that chariot or in the resurrection. You want to see your brother. Don't you want to see that woman? See? Well, then that wouldn't be real love then. That would be feigned love. If you don't want to see this woman again in the kingdom of the Most High. See? So being heirs together. So this woman will resurrect like you resurrect, and this would be your wife. Your children would resurrect. She would, like the woman with 7 sons. So when she resurrects, she expects to see her children. So she's supposed to know what are the man that she had these children with. She expects to see this man. You see? So hey, okay, but if we stick with the scriptures and keep it basic, we could never go wrong. But as soon as we bring in opinion, we bring in emotion, we bring in our thoughts, we're gonna always miss them. Always miss it. Okay? So now, we're in Isaiah chapter 60 and now verse 21. Go ahead.
This is Isaiah 60 and verse 21. Thy people also shall be all righteous.
Thy people also shall be all righteous. When are we going to be all right? This is talking about the kingdom of the Most High. Go ahead.
They shall inherit the land forever.
Go ahead.
The branch of my planting.
The branch of my planting. See, the Most High planted this. Through who? Hamashiach Yahweh, whom the world calls Jesus Christ. He planted each and every last one of you. Your job is to make sure that this calling into this truth is a sure thing. If you are committing sin and you not stopping and you not changing, you in jeopardy, man. That's all I'm gonna say. Didn't want to discourage you, but you in jeopardy. You got to do something to change that, because this is not a joke. You cannot walk around saying God knows my heart. He knows my heart. Yeah. He knows that you've been allowing your heart to deceive you. The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? He knows you've been given place to that. So don't think within yourself, oh, yeah, God knows my heart. Yeah, he do know that it goes after whatever you see. So we have to stop that, because that's damaging. And we don't know how, when Satan be on you, you don't realize how the damage that you're doing. You damaging your born again status. You damaging your baptism. Some of you take baptism and make it a worthless thing to you. Because who washes something and then go defile with it again? That's not how we're supposed to carry ourselves and behave. So you damage your spirit, you damage your character. Character is what other people see you live in. And you damage your name. You put a stain and tarnish and blemish upon yourself. We're not supposed to act like that. We're supposed to be righteous. The Lord said that we are the branch of his plant. Go ahead.
The work of my hands.
Right, the work of his hands. The Most High put this work into us. The Most High was inside of one another, ministering, helping, preaching, teaching, being patient, all hours of the day, all hours of the night, anytime trying to help you overcome your demons. That has to account for something. You don't trot that underfoot. Nobody does that in the world. In the world, they put dope in your hands. In the truth, we take it out. In the world, they don't tell you the truth. In the truth, we tell you the truth. Okay? The work of the hands of the Most High. Go ahead.
That I may be glorified.
That he may be glorified. He did that so he can look good. Because he wants to be a father that can stand behind a nation that's bringing forth the fruits thereof. And that's not making him look bad. Go ahead.
Verse 22. A little one shall become 1,000.
What do you think that means? That's right. A little one shall become 1,000. Out of his loins, 1,000 generations. 1,000. That's right. If you living forever, you're going to have children. You're going to have children. You're going to have wives and they're going to have children. This is in the kingdom. A little one shall become 1,000. Not impossible. Not impossible. Very much possible. Go ahead.
And the small one a strong nation.
Yeah, and him himself. His family's so strong, he looked like a nation. Like a tribe. Just like Judah looked like a nation. With so many of us, we have been deceived that the other 11 tribes are not even associated with us. We like, how could they be our people? They look different. If your mama had 5 children, your mother and your father had 5 children, all of y'all are not identical. Boop, 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 boop. You got to be identical in order to be relatives. Look, brothers and sisters, come on, man. Okay? And so a small one, the Bible says, a nation. This is what's going to come out of the loins. There will be marriages in this kingdom. Go ahead.
I, the Lord, will hasten it in his time.
He said he's going to bring it forth. That's right. In his time. This is what we work for. This is what we to be working for. When I figured this out, I'm kingdom bound. This world is dead to me. I'm just trying to survive. Trying to be the best example I can be, trying to be the best husband, the best father, the best brother, the best uncle, the best cousin. Whatever it is I am in your life, I'm trying to be the best at it. And I'm trying to provide and put some food and bread on the table. You understand? Trying to be the best servant, worshiper. You understand? Hey, this world, stop trying to, a lot of times we get off the, we go astray because we're trying to impress. We're trying to maintain the state of the world. We're trying to impress. We're trying to maintain the state of the world. Leave that alone. Leave that alone. Do what you're supposed to do according to this Bible. If the Bible says do it, do it. If the Bible says don't do it, don't do it. And you will be perfect according to his comeliness. That's returning back to your natural roots. Okay? So now, Genesis chapter 28, and now verse 15.
This is Genesis chapter 28 and verse 15. And behold, I am with thee, and will keep thee in all places whither thou goest, and will bring thee again into this land. For I will not leave thee until I have done that which I have spoken to thee of. And Jacob awaked out of his sleep, and he said, Surely the Lord is in this place, and I knew it not. And he was afraid, and said, How dreadful is this place! This is none other but the house of God, and this is the gate of heaven. And Jacob rose up early in the morning and took the stone that he had put for his pillows, and set it up for a pillar, and poured oil upon the top of it. And he called the name of the place Bethel, but the name of the city was called Luz at the first.
Okay, go to Genesis 37. Start at verse 1.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 37, and verse 1. And Jacob dwelt in the land wherein his father was a stranger, in the land of Canaan. These are the generations of Jacob. Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with his brethren. And the lad was with the sons of Bilhah and with the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives. And Joseph brought unto his father their evil report. Now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children, because he was the son of his old age. And he made him a coat of many colors. And when his brothers saw that their father loved him more than all his brethren, they hated him, and could not speak peaceably unto him.
So remember, why did Cain hate Abel? Because his deeds were what? Evil, and his brother's deeds was good. So the rest of the brethren, hey, they had some evil deeds. Now, what other brother in her had, we could use the scriptures to say that he was a decent brother? Levi, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Why you say Levi?
Because he was priesthood.
Because what?
They made him priesthood.
Because they made him the priesthood?
Well, his lineage.
His lineage? I mean, that's true, but what make you say that? Malachi?
Yeah.
The book of Malachi. Chapter 2 and verse 5.
This is the book of Malachi, chapter 2.
And start at verse 4.
And Malachi chapter 2 and verse 4.
Right.
And ye shall know that I have sent this commandment unto you, that my covenant might be with Levi, saith the Lord of hosts. My covenant was with him of life and peace, and I gave them to him for the fear wherewith he feared me.
Right. So Levi, he was the type of person that he feared the Most High. All right. So when we read Genesis 37, it told you that his brothers were conniving and that they hated on Joseph because his father favored him. But Levi was the type of son that he did fear the Most High. Read the latter part in Malachi chapter 2 and 5, the last precept. Go ahead.
Malachi 2 and 5, last precept. And was afraid before my name.
Right. And so what does it mean to be afraid before the name of the Most High? What that means is when you know that the Most High is associated with something, it causes a certain fear and a level of constraint to come upon you. Okay? when you know that the Most High is associated with something, you're like, well, I'm going to back up from this. That's how we supposed to be. Okay, hold them both. Genesis 37, Malachi 2, and I want us to get Samuel is what I want. 2 Sam chapter 22. Second Samuel chapter 22 and verse 22.
This is 2 Samuel chapter 22 and verse 22.
Give them a moment to get it. So now when I explain this, use your imagination, because you're going to have to do the same thing in order to survive. Go ahead.
2 Samuel chapter 22 and verse 22.
Mm-hmm.
For I have kept the ways of the Lord.
I have kept the ways. Remember, Levi, feared before the name and was afraid before my name. So when somebody would say, the Lord said, do this, don't do this, Levi. The Lord said, don't do that, Levi. Levi took it to heart. He was like, whoa, I can't do that. There are people like that today, and the Most High recognizes them. The Most High recognizes them when people are like that. When somebody tell you, thus says the Lord, they tremble, man. They're like, I'm not doing that. That's how we supposed to be. When somebody tell you that the Most High said this, you supposed to be like, man, I'm not doing that. That will be breaking the Most High's commandments. The Most High will come down upon me for that. You understand that? That's how Levi was. So when you read 2 Samuel 22 and 22, you say, for I have kept the ways, because he feared. When somebody told Samuel that the Lord said something, he feared. Read.
And have not wickedly departed from my God.
When we don't do what God says, that's wicked. That's wicked. He said, and I have not wickedly departed. Read.
For all his judgments were before me.
For all his judgments were before me. Meaning he brought them to the forefront of his mind, his thought process, his thinking ability. You see how I'm touching my head up here? I'm touching my head up here because it's like, for some reason, we seem to believe that our thoughts are here. That's why the little bubbles come out the side of your temple. Because for some reason, we seem to think that this is where our frontal lobes, this is where our thoughts is and stuff like that. Whenever somebody trying to remember something, they say, oh, because it's like, so he said, listen, I brought everything before me. Like he put it right to the front. And he's like, I'm going to choose this. He's like, oh, I know what I would want to do. But no, I need to choose this way and that way. And these things are associated with the Most High. Let me choose from that. If you do that and hurt yourself, you'll have success. You'll have success. What do I mean by hurt yourself? Meaning deny yourself, defraud yourself. Tell yourself no. Don't take pleasure in those things, because you call it fun, the Lord call it wickedness. I made a post just through the Spirit, just a random thought. When I make those things up, man, it's just random thoughts. People commit sin not really realizing it was something in this nature, not really realizing that there are consequences that's going to come. Why don't they realize that consequences are going to come? Because it's fun. Duh. They be like, it's fun. But then once they end up jacked up, then they're wondering, like, where did the judgment come? And then they're looking for somebody to blame. Looking for somebody on earth to blame. No. hey, they might have been very instrumental according to God, but the Lord himself in Matthew 5 said, when you have lost your savor, your ability to add and season into a situation, you are to be trodden under the foot of whatever man I send. See? Now, you have an issue with your God. The Most High just happened. He got evil people too. He got good people. He got evil people. Good people, a good person ain't gonna do that to you. So the Most High said, oh, I got just the evil villain for you. Somebody that bear hate for you. Somebody that don't like you. Somebody that don't give a damn about you. They don't have no more. They don't have no thought process. Sick them. And then next thing you know, you trodden under the foot. So instead of pointing the finger at that man, why don't you deal with your God? Because you didn't put what he told you in front of you, neither did you fear before his name. When somebody said, the Lord told you this, you didn't fear. We supposed to tremble. When it comes to, am I going to break the law or not? We supposed to tremble at that. Joseph, the most, I love Joseph too. Y'all know what Joseph did. When Joseph got put in a situation to where he was about to, this some woman kept coming to him, man, he ran. He ran. In this world, they'll be like, oh, is he a fag or something? You a punk or something? No, he ain't no punk. No, he didn't want to break the law of the Most High. This is the type of people that we supposed to develop to, because it's written. We read it today. Okay? So, what is this? Samuel chapter 2 Samuel 22 and 23 again. For all his judgments were before me. Go ahead.
And as for his statutes, I did not depart from them.
Go ahead.
I was also upright before him, and have kept myself from mine iniquity.
And have kept myself from who?
Mine iniquity.
From my iniquities. Everybody has faults. Stop thinking that they itty bitty tiny. No, they huge, and so you're supposed to be like, I'm gonna keep myself from doing that. How do you keep yourself from doing it? By not entertaining. You have to take countermeasures. You have to take countermeasures to avoid that. Okay? So let's go back to Malachi chapter 2. So Israel, we're going around, and we're not going around, but we're showing you how Levi was another one of Jacob's sons that did fear the Most High. And that's a blanket statement that all his sons hated Joseph. When the son of Levi, the Bible is telling you this is what type of person Levi was. So it's your job to get in here and know and understand this. Why did the Most High choose Levi over Reuben, Levi over Manasseh, or Levi over Ephraim, or Issachar, or Benjamin, or even us, Judah? He chose Levi because of the respect and trembling fear that he had at the word of the Lord. All right? Go ahead.
This is Malachi chapter 2 and verse 6. The law of truth was in his mouth.
The law of truth. What does that mean? That means that this brother was a person limb. That means that this brother was a person that was about truth. He made a law within himself that he is going to be a person, an honest person. A person that tells what? The truth. That's how you got to be. And you got the brand, you got to stand on that brand. Like, listen, man, I'm telling the truth. How do you become a person that's honest? Don't ever put yourself in a compromising situation to where you have to lie. And you'll be fine. That takes sacrifice. That takes sufferance. He that has suffered in the flesh have ceased from sin. I ain't gonna tell you it's easy. It's not easy. You're gonna suffer. You gotta suffer. You gotta deny yourself. You can't have it your way. You can't be selfish. You have to remember there are other people that you are living with and for. Always remember that. There are other people that you are living with, you coexist, and you living for. Stop thinking, oh, I'm only alive for me. Drop sick on a bed, and don't you want all those other people to exist? Yes, you will. You see? So come on now. While you thriving and you got your strength and you this, that, and the third, you better stop being so selfish. You better start coexisting and living with these people and respecting them and living for them. Okay? What I mean by living for them? Set an example. Have regard for your name. Respect them. Give some respect. Give some love. You get it back in return. Don't just be, demon in the flesh. You don't care about nobody. Egotistical. Narcissists. You don't care about anybody. You're all self-centered. You can't be like that, man. Because a person that does like that they'll do whatever they want to do. They'll be self-willed. And when they do all these different things, now, and do you notice that some people will lie to you saying, I ain't want to hurt your feelings. I ain't want to hurt you. Shit, if you didn't want to hurt me, you wouldn't have did it at all. So you don't, try to avoid hurting somebody by lying to them. If you're going to avoid hurting somebody, then sacrifice. Make a sacrifice. Hurt yourself. Deny yourself because you know that person will be against the thing that you do. Okay? So, back to Levi, then we'll get back on track. So, this is Malachi chapter 2 and verse 6. The law of truth was in his mouth, and iniquity was not found in his lips. So, there was no sin in this brother. So, he didn't have evil communication. He didn't have what James say, blessing and cursing out the same mouth. He didn't deal like that. How many of you deal like that? Let's get that. They got to see that. Go to the book of James. The book of James. Chapter 3 and verse 8.
This is the book of James, chapter 3 and verse 8. But the tongue can no man tame. It is an unruly evil, full of deadly poison.
Right. Or we like that. When it says no man can tame it, you are out of control. Or you the type of person like that that's out of control. Somebody's saying something to you. They ask you to stop, to be quiet. Just stop talking for a minute. Let me say this. You won't stop talking. That's what that means. You won't stop talking. I noticed that. If I'm talking to you, I noticed that about a brother, a sister, or whatever. You won't, you won't stop talking. I'm talking to you, and you won't stop talking. I said, well, okay, just hold up, brother. No, brother, just listen, man. I'm going to give you the opportunity to talk. Hold up. Is that you? The Bible says no man can tame that. That is rude. unruly, and that is evil. And people never think that they're doing evil. Full of deadly poison, meaning the stuff you said is killing that person. Cyanide is killing that person. We have got to care one for another. Read.
Therewith bless we God.
Therewith, Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, meaning the Most High, in the name of Christ, we bless God. We give God praises. Oh, God, thank you for this, then the third. Oh, what are some of the things that people be saying? God is good. You compliment, meaning when we bless God, we compliment God. God is good. God is great. The Most High is good. The Most High is great. The same tongue that you will call somebody, get your old funk at. You know what I'm saying? Yo, fuck it. You will cuss somebody clean out and then turn around and be like, the Most High is, and ain't nobody greater. You understand? Come on. Am I describing you? You can't be like that. We fuss and fight with each other. Man and woman. Like cats and dogs. My dog literally has nemesis in the neighborhood. I mean, she wants to come out just to bark at the cats. And there's a cat that sit right outside our gate, knowing the dog ain't gonna come out there. Do we fight like cats and dogs and then go and compliment the Most High? Read.
Even the Father.
Even the Father. So he getting this straight. Yeah, we talking about the Most High. Go ahead.
And therewith curse we men.
With the same tongue, curse men out. Go ahead.
Which are made after the similitude of God.
Well, you know what that means? The Most High made man in his image. So man looked like God. The so-called black man looks like the Most High. The Most High is sitting on a throne. When he will put his spirit in the body, he got 5 toes and toenails, knuckles, woolly hair. You understand? Beady beads, and he have all that. Kitchens, he have all that. So it's possible if the Most High would be in the flesh and sat in a room full of other Hebrews, you wouldn't even know. And you talk to somebody that look just like him the way that you talking. We have got to cut that out of our nation. And we have got to learn to live with each other and live for one another and deal with each other. We cannot be like that. We gotta start to begin to have some respect one for another. Now, trust and believe, there are some people, and I've taught you this before, there are some people that don't respect you, that don't know how to respect themselves. What do we do in a situation like that? Say, leave them alone.
Leave them alone.
That's right. You don't have to cuss them out, though. Just leave them alone. You don't have to talk to a person. Say, I don't have to talk to a person.
I don't have to talk to a person.
You don't have to talk to a person. You do not have to talk to a person. If you do, that's because you want to. You are wrong. 2 wrongs will never make a right. 2 wrongs will never make a right. You can be right. All you gotta do is leave. You can ask them to stop. You can be nice about it. You can say, please, can you stop? You can give them warning. I'm being provoked. I'm just trying to resolve this situation. please stop so that we can resolve this situation, or I'm gonna leave. If they don't take the heed, the warning, you doing all of this because now you know you have to go because you feeling some type of way. The old person, the spirit is trying to seduce you, to let the old ratchet mouth come out. Or you gonna cuss them out, you gonna give them, you say, all right then, listen, I'm gonna leave. And then you go. Don't stand there and take spousal abuse, verbal abuse, brotherly abuse, and people quoting scriptures. The devil quotes scriptures, brothers and sisters. Don't let nobody get that off on you. I'm quoting the scriptures. The wicked flee. I've been called wicked. GMS called me wicked. I said, man, though that day, I was so heated. I was like, y'all got the audacity, bro. They out there dallying with harlots and everything. That place, that was one of the most carnivalist places that I have seen in all my ages. And they was out there. I mean, they bit us like serpents, man. They stung us like vipers. They surprised us, man, and they like jumped all over us and attacked us with words and was shouting in our faces and everything. They was intoxicated. They was like on host road, man. We was out teaching in Kansas City. And you know, that's where the spots was. So we went and they were in the cut drinking. And they slid on up. They slid it up like snakes. The point is not to publicize GMS, but to tell you that just because somebody call you the devil doesn't mean you the devil. You know, if you gotta go, you gotta go. You gotta leave, you gotta leave. He said it was Tennessee. Was that Tennessee? That wasn't Tennessee. It was in KC. Tennessee was nice. We had a lot of people that was, you know, would take the pictures with us. They loved us teaching and stuff like that. Okay. Kansas City was cool too. It was just GMS. You know, pointing at the stars, saying, "That's a chariot. See right there." See right there. It's a star. See right there. That's a chariot right there. Yahweh Hashem Yahushua is looking at you, brothers. Man. Yeah, he's looking at you too. He's looking at you. They might as well start saying, "There's some hoes in this house. There's some hoes." I mean, they was literally in the spot. They was like digging in the scene with a gangster lean in the spot. They was prophesying earlier. What you doing now? Oh, okay. I get you. And then we just let them cuss. That's all right. That's all right. I know you're gonna make a video or this and that. I said, bro, I'm not making no video. So I'm gonna give you my word. I'm not gonna make no video. But y'all need to stop. I know you're gonna make a video. I said, brother, listen, I'm telling you, I'm not gonna make a video because it's not my thing to exploit somebody else's weakness. You understand? But you need to stop. But that didn't stop them from cussing us out. I mean, they did it so bad, I'm ashamed to even show the video. I got the video. One day, I was one day, you know, I was gonna do the watch party at nighttime, and then that video came up, and I said, nah, I ain't gonna even put this out there. They was just, cause they provoked me to, you know, they provoked me, and I think I started yelling at them and all kind of stuff. That little one, I wanted to clock him, boy. I wanted to get him, and then everybody that didn't go on the trip, that was like, boy, if I hadn't been there, it was all in the phone. Top flight was at home talking about, boy, I was just, Top flight was all, he was there, said, man, I should have been there. Yahweh was like, boy, we'd have crushed them. It'd have been a fight. Man, They'll- And then that nerd say, that's the, are you prepared? This is what it's gonna be like. This is what it's gonna be like. We supposed to be in your faces. I was like, oh my God, are you kidding me? They were shouting, yeah, man. They had Shy ready to fight. I said, man, this is a young boy. Get up off of him, man. This is my son. Get up off of him, man. Y'all tripping. It was tripping. I'm trying to go past it. It's funny now. Yeah, we just wish we had some bats. I told the brother got back to the hotel. I said, man, we just had some bats. We'd have just beat all their asses because they was tripping out here, brother. They was tripping. They gave us the blues, boy. They was a throwing, boy. They socked it to us, man. They was tripping in an evil way, man. And we was just trying to stay in the spirit that y'all always see us in and ask them to stop and walk away, and they wouldn't let us go. And then when he called me wicked, I came back. I was like, I'm like Gans on what's that? 48 hours or something. They said, I got hit. I'm like, what? You call me wicked? What? It's like, I can't believe what? I couldn't believe it. It's like, oh man, you finna get it now. You drew me back in. I was like, you finna get it now. You call me wicked? So we're at James chapter 3 and verse 10. Read that.
Out of the same mouth proceeded blessing and cursing. My brethren, these things ought not so to be.
So we can't behave like that. So anybody that's fussing and cussing and preaching and teaching and praising, you gotta make your mind up what you're gonna do, what you're gonna be. Okay? You're gonna be righteous or you're gonna be wicked. You can't do that. Do a fountain send forth at the same place sweet water and bitter? Nah. Okay, so let's lose that. So we finish up Malachi. Malachi chapter 2. Malachi chapter 2 and verse 6, the law of truth was in his mouth, iniquity was not found in his lips. So he wasn't a person that was like that. And we wonder, like, what is iniquity in the lips? He wasn't like that. That's why I took you to that James 2 to show you. He walked with me in peace and equity. What is equity? He was fair. Equity means it's a state or quality of being fair. He was fair. Are you fair? Okay, and did turn many away from iniquity. That means you're going to teach people, set an example, and help them to avoid sinning. That's our mission. That's our job. Teach people. Help turn them away from sin. Okay, so let's go back. To Genesis, right? Genesis chapter 37. Y'all make sure y'all share the video and tag somebody in. So Genesis 37 and 5, Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told it his brethren, and they hated him yet the more. And he said unto them, I pray ye, hear I pray you, this dream which I have dreamed. And behold, we were binding sheaves in a field. Now a sheaf, do everybody in here knows what a sheaf is? Okay. I'll draw one. So if you were on a farm, it's like straw. You would take it and you would bind it together. You know what I'm saying? They had a lot of different uses for it. You can feed certain animals with it. You could build with it. Use it as make good insulation. You know, when you in your rooftops in your houses. I got a house that's got straw for insulation, but it's got other stuff in it. You know,
Can you call it
hay. You can call it hay. Yeah, you can call it hay. So they had some tall sheaves. Okay, here's one to draw. Verse 7, behold, we were binding sheaves in the field, and lo, so he's telling them the dream. My sheaf arose and also stood upright. And behold, your sheaves stood around about and made obedience to my sheaf. Obedience means to, let's get a good definition. Obedience. It says differential respect. To worship, reverence, honor, submission. So theirs were in submission. Theirs were held his in reverence and in respect, as if his were higher and theirs were lower. Okay? So this is a dream. Behold, your sheaves stood round about and made obedience to my sheaf. Verse 8, and his brethren said unto him, shalt thou indeed reign over us? Or shalt thou indeed have dominion over us? And they hated him yet the more for his dreams and for his words. So most of us know about Passover, and we know how Joseph was in Egypt. Everybody in here knows how Joseph was in Egypt, and Israel came into Egypt, right?
Mm-hmm.
But most people don't know the details that the Most High had forewarned them and was showing it in Joseph what would happen, but they didn't understand. And that's why I think we talked a few weeks ago about dreams, to pay attention into your dreams, because someday it might come back up in life and you might need to remember the dream. Like, man, I dreamed this dream. What am I supposed to do? What does this talk about? Because the day that his brethren show up and they behave a certain way, the bell in Joseph's head is going to go off. He's going to be like, that's the dream. So you have to start thinking about these things because that's a form, that's the way that the Most High communicates with you. Okay? So now, moving on. Genesis 37 and verse 9. Go ahead.
And he dreamed yet another dream, and told it his brethren, and said, Behold, I have dreamed a dream more. And behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obedience to me. And he told it to his father and to his brethren, and his father rebuked him, and said unto him, What is this dream that thou hast dreamed? Shall I and thy mother and thy brethren indeed come to bow down ourselves to thee to the earth? And his brethren envied him, but his father observed the same. And his brethren went out to feed their father's flock in Shechem. And Israel said unto Joseph, Do not thy brethren feed the flock in Shechem? Come, and I will send thee unto them. And he said to him, Here am I. And he said to him, Go, I pray thee, see whether it be well with thy brethren, and well with the flocks, and bring me word again. So he sent him out of the vale of Hebron, and he came to Shechem. And a certain man found him, and behold, he was wandering in the field. And the man asked him, saying, What seekest thou? And he said, I seek my brethren. Tell me, I pray thee, where they feed their flocks. And the man said, They are departed hence. For I heard them say, Let us go to Dothan. And Joseph went after his brethren and found them in Dothan. And when they saw him afar off, even before he came near unto them, they conspired against him to slay him. And they said one to another, Behold, this dreamer cometh. Come now therefore, and let us slay him, and cast him into some pit. And we will say, Some evil beast hath devoured him, and we shall see what will become of his dreams. And Reuben heard it, and he delivered him out of their hands, and said, Let us not kill him. And Reuben said unto them, Shed no blood, but cast him into this pit that is in the wilderness, and lay no hand upon him, that he might rid him out of their hands, to deliver him his father again. And it came to pass, when Joseph was come unto his brethren, that they stripped Joseph of his coat of many colors that was on him, and they took him and cast him into a pit. And the pit was empty, and there was no water in it.
So now, as fast as we can, Proverbs 20. This precept is going to explain to you the thought process of the brothers. Proverbs 20 and verse 24.
This is Proverbs chapter 20 and verse 24. Man's goings are of the Lord. How can a man then understand his own way?
Man's goings are of the Lord. So all of those men that was conspiring, that was of the Most High. Genesis chapter 18 and verse 10.
This is Genesis chapter 18 and verse 10. And he said, I will certainly return unto thee according to the time of life.
Now, according to the time of life. So what are we establishing? That in a time, and there's a time that for everything. So according to the time of life, it was time for the Most High to start setting up for Israel to go down into Egypt. But he needed Joseph to be there. So the Most High is directing this whole thing. So now, Jacob, whose name is Israel, loves his favorite son, so he definitely ain't finna give him up. Sometimes when you love something, when you love somebody, and it doesn't matter if it's your favorite, when it's the time of life, the Most High will make a move without your consent. Think about this now. Without your consent. Does God care about you? Of course he cares about you. Of course the Most High cares about you. But Israel had to do the will of the Most High. The greatest reason why the Most High allowed Israel to go down in there was A, to build, because Egypt was a dynasty that was established already, and B is to show them his power. Because remember, go to Romans 9. Romans 9 and verse 17.
This is the book of Romans, chapter 9, verse 17. For the scripture said unto Pharaoh, even for this same purpose have I raised thee up, that I might show my power in thee, and that my name might be declared throughout all the earth.
Right, so now let's go back as I expound. The Most High sent Israel in there to that superpower of a nation, and Israel was going to be able to see that the Most High had raised them up to bring them down. Israel was going to see all the wonders and all the powers. It doesn't matter. They had wise men, they had soothsayers, they had witches, they had gangsters, they had astrologers, they had big time idolatry. All the plagues that the Most High plagued Egypt with, Egypt had gods that represent every plague that the Most High brought upon. Everything that the Egyptians worshiped, the Most High brought a plague and destroyed it. So what was that telling the Egyptians and Israel? That there's nobody greater than the Most High. And that no matter what they do, that the Most High is going to bring it down. It doesn't matter what they do. It don't matter what you have. The Most High is going to bring you down. So the Most High allowed that dynasty to get that big. At the way they were then, it's like how the Americans are right now. Nobody can deal with their weaponry. Nobody can deal with their science. Nobody can deal with their technology. Watch the Most High. The Most High is a God, not man. The Most High is not to be toyed or played with. The Most High will bring them down like they are a baby, man. Like a baby. The Lord said they are dust that ain't even accounted for on the beam. They're dust to him. Their technology just is above us because we still got the blinders on us. We can't read their technology. They don't show it to you. They created some level. This is above your pay grade. They've dumbed you down. And so now the people are afraid of weaponry and technology and science and bioweapons and stuff like that. Those things are not, they're nothing to the Most High. So the point is, the thing that happened, that how their heart just turned, The Most High allowed that because it was time, process of time had to move forward. Excuse me. Did that mean that the Most High didn't love Jacob? The Most High loved Jacob. Jacob didn't sin against the Most High. You can't find no precept that said Jacob sinned against the Most High. Jacob was righteous, like his father Isaac and like his father Abraham. Then the best son that he had, why did the Lord take his son? Because the Lord needed to do something with his son. We have got to understand things like that. When things like this happen to us in our life, we got to understand that. It's time. It's God's time. It's the Most High's time. We just got to understand that. Something like that happens personal in your life, it's a process of time that the Most High be moving things on along so that his will can shine forth. A lot of times we just want our whole life to be about us and our will, not understanding we are character in a skit. You're walking in a road, and the Most High is the director of this thing. Even your day is planned out. You just don't realize it. He know you're going afar. He know what each and every last one of you gonna do tomorrow. He see it. He know it. He created it already. Your destiny is already wrote. That's a level of understanding that a lot of people don't understand. But you only get that when you come to places like this. Okay, so where we stop at?
Genesis 18.
No,
You done that?
we
Yeah, 18 and 10.
yes,
Time
that's
of life.
that was all. Yeah, during the time of life, because everybody we have a time of life deals with us because everybody we have a time of life deals with us according to the time of life. That was the point. So now back to Genesis 38.
This is Genesis chapter 37.
7. Genesis 37, right?
Genesis chapter 37 and verse 23. And it came to pass, when Joseph was come unto his brethren, that they stripped Joseph of his coat of many colors that was on him. And they took him and cast him into a pit that was on him. And they took him and cast him into a pit. And the pit was empty, and there was no water in it. And they sat down to eat bread, and they lifted up their eyes and looked, and behold, a company of Ishmaelites.
What's that movie where the guy was in the pit and it started? What's that movie where the guy was in the pit and it started raining? It shows that Aztec movie about what's the name of it? Apocalypto. Yeah, you see how he was in a deep pit and he couldn't get out. That's the type. He was in a deep pit and he couldn't get out. That's the type of pit they put Joseph in. So now it says a company of Ishmaelites came from Gilead with their camels bearing spicery, balm, and myrrh, going to carry it down to Egypt. So they were going down to carry it down to Egypt. So they were going down to sail. Okay, verse 26. Go.
And Judah said unto his brethren, what profit is it if we slay our brother and conceal his blood? Come and let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brethren and our flesh. And his brethren were content. Then there passed by Midianites, merchantmen, and they drew and lifted up Joseph out of the pit, and sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver, and they brought Joseph into Egypt. And Reuben returned unto the pit, and behold, Joseph was not in the pit, and he rent his clothes. Behold, Joseph was not in the pit, and he rent his clothes.
So somebody got to him before they got back to him. Midianites got to him first. Okay, go ahead.
And he, verse 30, and he returned unto his brethren and said,
So we know who the Midianites are, right? The people of Persia.
and said,
So we know who the Midianites are, right? The people of Persia. We saw the I showed y'all the pictures of them. Okay, go ahead.
the child is not, and I whither shall I go? And they took Joseph's coat and killed a kid of goats. They took Joseph's coat and killed a kid of goats and dipped the coat in blood.
So now they're gonna hide their sin. Yeah. So they want to make believe that he had been killed because now they have to go back to their father and tell a lie. Their father and tell a lie. Yeah. And that's why they killed the kid, the baby, small, lamb or goat, and put blood all over it as if some animal tore him to pieces and ate him up. Some animal tore him to pieces and ate him up. Maybe Wile E. Coyote. Verse 32.
And they sent the coat of many colors, and they brought it to their father, and said, This have we to their father, and said, This have we found. Know now whether it be thy son's or no. And he knew it, and said, It is my son's coat. An evil beast had devoured him. Joseph is without doubt rent in pieces, and Jacob is without doubt rent in pieces. And Jacob rent his clothes and put sackcloth upon his loins, and mourned for his son many days. And all his sons and all his daughters rose up to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted, and he said, For I will refuse to be comforted, and he said, For I will go down into the grave unto my son mourning. Thus his father wept for him. And the Midianites sold him into Egypt unto Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh's and captain of the guard.
Right.
An officer of Pharaoh's and captain of the guard.
Right. So he slid right in the right spot. And so as this story continues, we know how Potiphar plays a part. If you don't know, you're gonna learn. So he didn't end up in the wrong place. He ended up in the right place. And all this was up in the wrong place. He ended up in the right place. And all this was by the hand of the Lord. By the hand of the Lord. So we'll go one more. Genesis 38:1. It came to pass at that time that Judah went down from his brother. At that time that Judah went down from his brethren and turned into a certain Adulamite, whose name was Harah. And Judah saw that a daughter of a certain Canaanite, whose name was Shua. And he took her and went in, whose name was Shua. And he took her and went in unto her, and she conceived and bore a son. And he called his name and she conceived again and bore a son, and she called his name Onan. So these are his name Onan. So these are they not little boys. They taking women and they having children by them. And she bore yet again, because she conceived and bore a son, and called his name Shiloh. And he was at Chazal when she bore him. And Judah took a wife for his firstborn, whose name was Tamar. So that shows you that now Judah is aged enough to where now his son is getting married. So they wasn't children when they went down into Egypt. And Judah's firstborn, was wicked in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord slew him. What do you could just name any old type of sin that your child could be doing, and the Most High would kill your child. Now, think about this. Here it is, with a righteous grandfather, the progenitor of our tribe, Judah, or actually Jacob, Jacob, the progenitor, Jacob, the righteous Jacob. His great-grandfather, Isaac, and great-great-grandfather, Abraham. Look at his lineage. And so you know his father, Judah, had to be talking to him, but he wouldn't listen. And so Israelites, we have to expound the dangers to our children that they fall upon because of who we are and the messages that we're delivering unto them. When they throw our counsel and what we're saying to the side, they throw the word of the Most High to the side. Remember, how was Levi? He was afraid before the name of the Lord. So if you're not afraid before the name of the Lord, you're going to get judged. And Judah said unto Onan, go in into thy brother's wife. So now this is Judah telling, because and Onan are brothers. Go in unto thy brother's wife and marry her and raise up seed to thy brother. So this is the law that we talked about earlier, that the scribes and Pharisees, that they twisted up. And people think that there ain't going to be no marriages in the kingdom. That law is in Deuteronomy 25. So verse 9. And Onan knew that the seed should not be his. So it came to pass, when he went in into his brother's wife, that he spilled it on the ground, lest he should give seed to his brother. So he did it for kicks. Okay, he withdrew. The pull out. That's the same thing that people do. They pull out. Is that something, you're supposed to be doing? You just, you having a woman for pleasure and you laying down and you just spilling seed. That's not what you're supposed to be doing. The only woman that a man's supposed to be laying with is a wife. You are not supposed to lay down for kicks. Okay. Verse 10. And the thing which he did displeased the Lord, wherefore he slew him also. Says it right there, verse 10. Then said Judah to Tamar, his daughter-in-law, remain a widow at thy father's house, till Shelah my son be grown. And he said, lest peradventure he died also, as his brethren did. So, the saying, or boys will be boys, and this, that, and the third, right? So he did not want Shelah to just come in and get his rocks off, come in for pleasure, because he feels that he wants to just enjoy the pleasures of a woman. So he didn't want that. Okay? And Tamar went and dwelt in her father's house. And in process of time, the daughter of Shua, Judah's wife, died. And Judah was comforted and went up into his sheep shearers to Tanakh. He and his friend Harah the Adulamite. And it was told Tamar, saying, thy father-in-law goeth up to Timnah to shear his sheep. And she put on widow's garments off of her and covered her with a veil. So now her face is covered. And wrapped herself and sat in an open place, which is by the way to Timnah. For she saw that Sheila was grown, and she was not given unto him to wife. What is this showing you concerning the daughters of the Hebrews? This showing you that they had constraint. This woman followed the instructions of her father-in-law. She went to her father's house and she waited to be married. She didn't just start burning 2 months later and crack, now it's open, the legs. No, she didn't do that. Why do you think there's so many infections? So many diseases? So, I want to say birth defects. People are like, oh, my baby is ADHD. Israel, we full of whoredoms. You have to get y'all's life. We have to get our lives together, man. We got to get our mind wrapped around this thing. This is a good example. This woman followed instructions. Any other woman, boy, but the way that Israel growing up now, under the Americans, you ain't following no instructions. It's gonna be on and cracking. You're gonna change your status to single, and you're gonna be doing your thing. A year might go by, some months might go by. You back at it again. Back at it again. No shame. But see, here's the thing. And God knows that a lot of you don't know this. But the sad part about it is there are a lot of sisters out there that call themselves Hebrews. You know this. You will be, it's like a car sale. This woman will go from man to man to man to man to man, and she don't care. She's just like, who wants the next? Literally, who wants the next? Yeah, I want a good man. Oh, he wasn't no good. Who wants the next? Sisters, y'all gotta stop that. The Most High is gonna wear y'all womb out. I will want to warn you brothers out there. Y'all better be careful. And warn you sisters out there. Y'all better be careful. Disease is real. Y'all gonna be plagued by the Most High. Israel is already plagued by the Most High. Now we know that they both gonna do the wrong thing. Both of them. But this is impressive. This sister waited. Impressive. This sister waited. That part I like. That part I like. So we're in Genesis chapter 38 and verse 15. When Judah saw her, he thought her to be a harlot because she had covered her face. Okay, so maybe that's what harlots do. That's what they did back in then. Now we don't want to say everybody that's a harlot covers their face. But remember what it is, the what do harlots do? They go out in an open place. They go out, you could drive down the street now. Do you see them? They be looking crazy. You know, they'll come up to a moving car and flag you down and then walk back away in the other direction. Then turn around and look and see if you, or they'll just, you know, this woman here, she's set in a spot. She is set out there. So, and then her appearance looked it like she was trying to attract men to let, you know, to let men know. Because he thought her to be a harlot, in verse 16. And he turned unto her by the way and said, Go to, I pray thee, let me come in unto thee. But he knew not that she was his daughter-in-law. And she said, what wilt thou give me, that thou mayest come in unto me? And he said, I will send thee a kid from the flock. And she said, wilt thou give me a pledge till thou send it? I mean, you got to give me something to hold until you send this animal. Because obviously this animal would be some money. And he said, what pledge shall I give thee? And she said, thy signet and thy bracelets, and thy staff that is in thy hand. So that you asked it for a lot, little mama. The ring, the bracelets, and the gangster cane. Dang. And he gave it to her. And he came in unto her. And she conceived by him. So she got pregnant by him. And she arose and went away and laid by her veil from her and put on the garments of her widowhood. And Judah sent the kid by the hand of the friend, the Adullamite, to receive his pledge from the woman's hand. But he found her not. Then he asked the men of that place, and where's the harlot that was openly by the wayside? And they said, there is no harlot in this place. Impressive. There was no known whores around her. That's good. See how crazy the land is now? You can ask somebody now, hey man, what's the whole that be, that be down there? That's so hey, talking about Irene. Are you talking about Helen? Oh shit, you talking about Vicky? Like they'll just keep on going. All right. Oh, you talking about Gwen? I'm gonna stop naming names before I mess around. Name somebody's name out there in this audience, and they're gonna be rolling their head. They gonna... All right. So Genesis 38 and 22. And he returned to Judah and said, I cannot find her. And also the men of the place said, there is no harlot in this place. And Judah said, let her take it to her, lest we be ashamed, meaning let her keep it. But she was being sneaky. Yeah, we said in the beginning they both doing the wrong thing. But this was of the Lord for a reason. Okay? Behold, I send this kid, and thou hast not found her. So he's saying, hey, just let her keep it. And it came to pass about 3 months after that it was told Judah, saying, tomorrow thy daughter-in-law hath played the harlot. And behold, she is with child by whoredom. And Judah said, bring her forth and let her be burned. So you see how strict they was about keeping the commandments. And see, what was the commandment? Was that her husband had a brother. You understand? So they was keeping the law. Her husband had a brother that was supposed to raise up seed to her brother. So she was bound unto that law. She was bound to the fine print of that law, and she was still, to the best of her ability, trying to keep it until she retaliated. She rendered evil for evil. Or she lost patience. Let's say that she lost patience, because we don't know what was in the heart of Judah. He could have just gave Sheila the next month. We don't know. It was just that she got tired of waiting, and she decided to be proactive. Verse 25, when she was brought forth, she sent to her father-in-law, saying, by the man whose these are, am I with child? And she said, discern, I pray thee, whose are these? The signet and bracelets and staff. Judah acknowledged them and said, She hath been more righteous than I, because that I gave her not to Shelah, my son, and he knew her again no more. So he didn't, at that point, he didn't take her to be his wife. Why? Why? Okay, go ahead.
Because he saw that she purposed to just bring up seed to her last husband.
Because what?
He saw her intentions, how she really wanted to just bring up seed to her husband.
Nah. Go to Leviticus 18. Because it was fornication. That's right, it was fornication. Leviticus chapter 18. Huh?
15.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Leviticus chapter 18 and verse 15. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy daughter-in-law. She is thy son's wife. Thou shalt not uncover her nakedness.
Right. So he committed fornication. Now, he committed the act of fornication. Many Israelites do that today. You commit the act of fornication and you try to turn it into marriage. Whenever you finish, it's still fornication. Still fornication. Go out there and have sex, unlawful sex. Then you say, oh, I'm going to turn this into the wife. And sisters, they soak it up. They say, okay. Same thing with brothers or sisters. Sisters will go out and they'll commit the act of fornication. They'll lay down with some J. And then after they did that, now they want to try and teach them the scriptures. The spirit ain't on him. The spirit wasn't on you when you did that. So now what's keeping you coming back for more and more? It ain't the scriptures, it's the flesh. Then you find out the hard way, sisters find out the hard way, that this brother was never about the Lord. He can't even, I don't want to say he can be about the Lord, but he's not about the Most High. Okay. So, did Yahushua come from Judah and Tamar? No, Yahushua came from Joseph and Mary. All right. So let's go back. We'll finish this chapter and then stop Israel. Verse 27, Genesis chapter 38, 27. So yeah, the thing about it, like in 26, that he didn't go into her no more. And a lot younger when I read this, I was wondering, like, why didn't he just go back to her? Or then take her to himself? Because he realized that it was something done in the flesh. That's what he realized. That his flesh, it wasn't of the spirit, it was of the flesh. He realized that. When we get into a situation like this, the first thing we want to do is put down the scriptures. We want to make it work. You say, I'm gonna force this, man. It's like me. I'm gonna force this into that bell. I'm gonna get this to fit in that bell. I'm tired today. I'm gonna wake up tomorrow. Water, can you help me push this in here? We can get this to go in there. That's how you do. That's how you do. I wondered, I'm like, why wouldn't you just take her to be your wife now? Because you cannot just take a woman and be like, this is the wife. Was not Judah forgiven? That's on the Most High. I don't know what name is in the kingdom of heaven, but Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in Christ. You know what scriptures say, many shall come down and sit in the kingdom of heaven with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So was Judah forgiven? No, I hope so. So verse 21, no, verse 27, and it came to pass in the time of her travail that behold, twins were in her womb. And it came to pass when she travailed, that the one put out his hand, and the midwife took and bound upon his hand a scarlet thread, saying, this came out first. And it came to pass as he drew back his hand, that behold, his brother came out, and she said, he hath broken forth. This breach be upon thee. Therefore therefore his name was called Perez, and afterward came out his brother that had the scarlet thread upon his hand, and his name was called Zoar. Okay. So we're gonna stop it here. You know, with the series, y'all just get a taste. So any questions? So when we start on Thursday, we'll start Genesis chapter 39. And at this point, Joseph, he'll be into Egypt with Potiphar over him. Okay. So Matthew 26. As a matter of fact, tomorrow, I don't know what I'm thinking about Thursday. Tomorrow, the new moon. So we'll be able to knock a few chapters off before the feast. So we'll discuss that. Think about time think about time. better come down for Passover, brother Xavier. I'm gonna hit you with the scriptures, brother. You don't make it out here for Passover. You gotta come out for Passover, brother. It's gonna be a blast. All right, so y'all sisters, y'all have the itinerary on cooking when y'all starting. What time y'all starting? Early. So y'all will be done by evening. A bunny said no.
I'm sorry.
Y'all will be done by evening. You think? Perhaps. Okay. We'll talk about, we'll try and see if we can get some scripture in earlier. All right, so Matthew 26. Don't you ever have a holy day without scriptures? Matthew 26:6 says, now when Christ was in Bethany in the house of Simon the leper, there came unto him a woman having an alabaster box of very precious ointment, and poured it on his head as he sat at meat. But when his disciples saw it, they had indignation, saying, to what purpose is this waste? For this ointment might have been sold for much and given to the poor. When Yahushua understood it, he said unto them, why trouble ye the woman? For she hath wrought to get work upon me. Ye have the poor always with you, but me you have not always. When that she hath poured this ointment on my body, she did it for my burial. Verily I say unto you, whatsoever this gospel shall be preached in the whole world, there shall also this that this woman have done be told for more of her. So all praises to the Most High for giving this sister the spirit to come forth, keep the commandments, and bring forth a beautiful example of a broken and contrite heart. So all praise. What time is it dark? Around. About 5:30. Y'all make it here at 5:30? Okay. I think that'll work. Y'all hear that, sis? So everybody, we'll have class tomorrow for the new moon Sabbath, 5:30. 5:30. That way we go through scripts and we'll get it over. Then when it's dark, we'll feast. It'll be done. Instead of starting at 6:30 and then going 5:30. Okay. All right, so the communion of Christ, all repentant Israelites should be taking the communion of the Lord. 1 Corinthians 11:23. For I received of the Lord that which also I delivered unto you, that the Lord Yahushua, Mashiach Yahushua, the same night in which he was betrayed, took bread. And when he had given thanks, he brake it and said, take, eat, this is my body which is broken for you. This do in remembrance of me. After the same manner also he took the cup when he had supped, saying, this cup is the New Testament in my blood. This do ye as oft as ye drink it in remembrance of me. For as often as you eat this bread and drink this cup, you do show the Lord's death till he come. Wherefore, whosoever shall eat this bread and drink this cup of the Lord unworthily shall be guilty of the body and blood of the Lord. Let a man examine himself, so let him eat of their bread and drink of their cup. For he that eateth and drinketh unworthily, eateth and drinketh damnation to himself, not discerning the Lord's body. For this cause many are weak and sickly among you, and many sleep. For if we would judge ourselves, we should not be judged. This is something common that I found myself having to explain to people. Not during communion, but just at any time of the day. If we would judge ourselves, we should not be judged. This does help us to understand. When you judge yourself, that means you refrain yourself from doing something that you're not supposed to do. When you do that, that stops a judgment. I'll give an example. You go into a store. You're going to take something that you're not supposed to take because you want it. You say, I'm not supposed to do this. If I do this, there are serious consequences that could possibly happen. So then you stop. You judged yourself. You stopped. You told yourself, don't do this, or this and the third can end up happening. Are you going to feel some type of way because that item, you in your mind, you wanted it? Yeah. So you're going to walk up out that store. You're going to walk up out that store with that little hurt that you're going through. With that little hurt that you're going through. Instead of the judgment that would have came from security by embarrassing you in front of the whole store and marching you through to that little front door that they have when you first come into the department store and the police waiting to come. And the police call outside. This time the police call outside for you. So you didn't get that judgment there. So you went away sad though and thinking, but you didn't get that judgment. That's how we to do. A lot of times this is actually said after somebody has been judged and they neglected to stop themselves from doing it. So moving forward, let's remember to always judge ourselves to avoid being judged. But when we are judged, so if we continue and now the Most High is to kick in, the Bible says that we are chastened. And that's where our sufferings come from. It comes from the things that we do that are dishonest, the things that we do that are wrong. We are chastened of the Lord to keep us from losing our salvation. That's what it means by that we should not be condemned with the world. Because the rest of the Israelites, they're going to be condemned. And you cannot uncondemn yourself. Once you're condemned, you're condemned. You cannot uncondemn yourself. I have been yet to be shown that. If there's somebody out there that can show me that, give it a shot. But I haven't seen it. Cannot uncondemn yourself. The Most High is very specific. Okay, we've explained this before about eternal hellfire. That's how Christ puts it. All right. So, Most High, in the name of Christ, thank you for the food and drink. Amen. Amen. This is body which is broken for you. Just as blood. Okay. That's it. We're gonna stand and face Israel. We're gonna stand and face Jerusalem. Please remember, no moon feast tomorrow. Be here at 5:30 for class. So most high will it, if we could start here, I'm gonna try and be here early. So don't try and be like, oh, he's gonna be late. So I have to be late. I got time. I know Sharon, he ain't gonna be there. Don't do that. Don't do that. I'm gonna try and be here around 5 o'clock so I can get this thing set up. 5:30 we can go from 5:30 to 6:30, and then we can start our feasting. And that way we're not trying to do it late in the evening, all right, Israel? So please, make sure you're on time. All right, Israel, stay around for the prayers. Y'all be on time too. Okay, Israel,
If every man was just like me, what kind of sanctuary would this be?
the Father's prayer, the Lord's prayer. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. In Christ's name we pray, amen.
Amen.
The Lord's prayer, Luke 10:2. Therefore said he unto them, the harvest truly is great, but the labors are few. Pray therefore the Lord of the harvest that he will send forth labors into his harvest. Bless you, Most High, King of heaven and earth, and all things, Most High, in the name of the Christ. Send more disciples and teachers to your harvest, to gather your people Israel. Send counsel behind your laws, to stand before thy people Israel. Give us strength to break down our lives with that word. In Christ's name we pray, amen.
Amen.
The blessing of Israel. Numbers chapter 6:24. Children of Israel, the Lord bless thee and keep thee. The Lord make his face shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. The Lord lift up his countenance upon and give thee peace. In Christ's name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Children of Israel, bless one another.
Most High name of Christ, bless you all.
Shalom. Who's on YouTube? And Miss Tina, Shalom, sister, Most High Christ bless. All right, Obadiah, what's up, brother? Shalom. Hey, Miss Inner Love, Boutique, Shalom.